Lucifer, son of the morning, I'm gonna chase you out of earth.
All right, it's our final segment tonight with James Evan Pilato. And we haven't gotten over to his site, foodworldorder.com. You have a video here of you and Corbett discussing Nestle water.
And so many other things. Yeah, so actually, much like I've been doing over the previous year with Bob, you and I, in our monthly talk, turning that into a YouTube video. James and I have been, basically he's letting me be a guest every Thursday night on his live radio show, where for the second half of the show, we go over exclusively foodworldorder.com stories in the worlds of food, health, and the environment. So I've been making videos that ultimately the segment is too long and I can't upload it to GooTube. They won't, it's over the length. So huge thanks to my man Morgan Lesko at wikiworldorder.com. He uploads my Food World Order videos to his site.
Morgan's cool. I like Morgan. I saw you guys were hanging out the other day, and I had invited him on the show ages ago, and I never followed through. I ought to get back in touch with him.
So that's, again, just another way to kind of spread the information out and know that people that may not listen to a podcast will, they can watch a 15 or so minute YouTube video or...
Right.
What I've been stoked about, and actually you asked me about this. We again talked about this during the break a little bit. Mm-hmm. I find I use Twitter more and more, and even I haven't even posted up yet all their agreements now. Oh, well, sure, we'll censor worldwide if U.S. government asks us to. So just another example. We shouldn't be shocked and we shouldn't be appalled that these massive corporations will share and bend to the will of the state, whether that's Google or Facebook or any of them. But it is always a little depressing. It's like, oh, that used to be a cool site, but they're sellouts like everybody else because apparently everything's for sale in America. Nothing matters. It's it's all just dollar signs. But you asked me about navigating Netflix.com, and yes, the site is still going. We have not done a new episode of the show Navigating Netflix. The folks over at tragedyandhope.com have been doing amazing work and put together that massive 5+ hour DVD set, The Ultimate History Lesson, A Weekend with John Taylor Gatto. So I think that's taken, a lot of their just kind of production and energy. So I would implore folks to go check out theultimatehistorylesson.com. But I use the Twitter feed, Navigate Netflix, to go over stuff I'm watching, new things that are available on Netflix, and even in a fairly somewhat, kind of open way, I'm showing you even what I'm getting on disc into the mail. So things like Off the Grid, Life on the Mesa, or W.C. Fields classics, or the Odessa File, or just all kinds of things that, again, our tagline for Navigating Netflix is the show designed to prioritize your mind or prioritize your time for movies that feed your mind. I have to work on that. The idea that there are so many things out there, and you can extrapolate this out to the web at large, that you can just get lost in the mountain of information. So hopefully, being a longtime movie geek, I can say, hey, don't watch that, check this out. So I also even have news bits that come out on that feed that today, actually, the director of the Oscar-nominated documentary Gasland was arrested in D.C. today after trying to film a public event.
Tell me more about that.
Well, I think they didn't have their credentials. So the movie Gasland was about, I think, fracking and more.
Right.
So there was some kind of hearing today, and I think they tried to get in, but I don't think they actually had the proper credentials. So you can see, at least on the playing field, to go, oh, well, they didn't do it the right way. So, of course, the man's going to call the cops.
What are the proper credentials? I don't get it.
Yeah, I think you have to jump through the right hoops and maybe represent Alphabet News Network. I'm sure helps. But I think actually I read that an ABC crew maybe wasn't allowed as well. I don't know.
They're all mixed up. Freeman was in a video, by the way, that was featured at the Sundance.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it was a video about YouTube, me at the zoo or something like that.
Huh.
I don't know. It's pretty cool. He was all excited about that. He came by last month to hang out, and he was telling me about it, and he's been posting about it on his site. So I thought that was neat.
On the other side, and again, we kind of started this conversation talking about documentaries and, you know, the Room 237 about Kubrick and NASA and The Shining and all of that. There is another documentary that, again, is making the film festival rounds. It's actually about to play here at the Portland International Film Festival. It's called Pink Ribbons, Inc. Bob, can you guess maybe what that might be about?
Oh, yeah. It's about those cancer scam institutes.
You are exactly right. I figured that would kind of be up your alley. I know you do a lot of work kind of exposing
the
health.
cancer fraud and subsequently these agencies, the Susan Komen Foundation.
Well, did you see the news today?
No, tell me about it.
That's what's, again, so fascinating, and I think I try not to get... Again, a coworker yesterday was asking me, you know, I said, I haven't checked the news in a little bit. I wonder if there's any, you know, Florida, you know, primary updates. And they were like, what does a little bit mean for you? You know, asking me, how long does a little bit mean since I've checked the news? I was like, a couple hours. Right. And they told me, you know, they've pretty much stopped watching news altogether and feel much better for it. Now, I can't blame a person for not wanting to watch the news for any second. But I find that, and maybe you find this too, Bob, that the more you study it, the less you're kind of surprised and shocked by it all, and the less you want to, oh my God, and go into an outrage, you know, every day that martial law is happening tomorrow. And again, all these things are very real. Absolutely. I wouldn't be doing any of this if I didn't think, you know, it would. But I think it lets you kind of, I don't know, it doesn't, in a way, you become impervious to it. It almost becomes just kind of, you know, a lesson in education, that with each day looking at the news, you can go, oh, wow, okay, well, here's just another, you know, data point to add to what I've already kind of seen through my own research. So you see a movie like Pink Ribbons coming out, and it's based on a book of the same title. Again, and just you just said, you know, it's about the cancer industry and the fact that all these companies don't really donate squat. They're just playing on people's emotions, and they put the pink ribbons in and all of that stuff. But today in the news, the Susan G. Komen Foundation pulled their funding for Planned Parenthood. So you have, and again, I was talking to my girlfriend, and she saw a lot of this kind of on Facebook and the message boards and all the petitions and all those things. It essentially looks like it's pitting women against each other, which again is the ultimate, you know, divide and conquer tactic. But to see these memes, really, I find just kind of fascinating that, you know, art imitates life, imitates politics. Bob, on a happy note, before we run out of time here, on twitter.com/Media Monarchy, I also have linked up the music feed, and we've maybe mentioned this before, because I got Navigate Netflix for the film and movie and shows and news on that area, but I've also got Pump Up the Volume, and it's just music related. And again, it wouldn't necessarily be conscious music or kind of politically motivated things. For me, again, I'm a college radio guy, indie rock guy, so it's more, brand new, cutting edge music. But I also just the other day tweeted Dead Prez's Politricks out to people, to remind them of...
Hold that thought, James. We'll finish things up in just a second here.
I feel so sorry for you youngsters today. At least back in the 30s after the Rothschilds, Warburgs, and Rockefellers rocked the American economy. Many of us had some understanding of the unsavory characters that gained control of the banking system. Today, they have totally infiltrated your media, academia, your Congress. They have left not a trace of the truth to be told. That's why I'm so glad I can tune into the Bob Tuskin radio show. The Bob Tuskin radio show.
Pump up the volume. Pump it up. I like that. And I'd love me some Dead Presidents, man. Really like them.
Billion-dollar campaigns, trillion-dollar bailout. Anybody know the definition of a sellout? I kind of tweeted that out.
That didn't sound good. I'm just realizing if people don't know...
I love Dead Res. Yeah, watch out.
I'm going to get a knock on the door from the Secret Service. Jeez.
So the Pump Up the Volume feed, I just find is, again, a great way to,
Cool.
Here's what I'm listening to, here's new music, or even...
All right, real quick, how can they find it?
Twitter.com/pumpupthetha volume.
James Evan Pilato will be back with hour number 2. Don't go anywhere.